Been struggling how to identify market structure and how to identify trend lines, this is the perfect video for you. Hey y'all, it's Ziana here. I'm the founder and CEO of Gilded Insights, and today I'm going to be giving y'all a quick breakdown on how to properly identify market structure as well as clean and clear trend lines. Okay, so let's just get right into it. All right, so before hopping into the charts, I just want you guys to have a very clear understanding of how to read the market. Okay, I know you're seeing this slideshow and you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, but yes, oh my gosh, and go get your pen and paper. It is going to be very quick, and then we're going to hop into the live examples. So, as you can see here, if you're not sure what market structure is, it's just the way that price moves on the chart, whether it's in an uptrend, downtrend, or sideways, aka consolidating, um, based on the highs and lows that price makes in the market. So, starting with the uptrend. An uptrend is when the market keeps making higher highs and higher lows. Okay, a higher high is when the price breaks the previous high, creating a new high. So, only focusing on higher high, shift your eyes to the example that I have here. And if you take a look at the yellow arrow that I've created, it's higher than the most recent high that was created at that time, which is where the black circle is. This is pretty self-explanatory. So if you just look, and even if you pull up the chart that if you have a chart pulled up, just take a look at the most recent high and shift your eyes right. So swing left real quick and swing back right, and that's a higher high. Same with higher low, but this is just when the price pulls back, but it stays above the previous low. So as you can see in this example where the black circle is, that was at the time where price was when price was there at that time, that was the low. But then price created a higher low because as we could see that it was in an uptrend, it created another um, low, but obviously it did not break that recent low. That is a higher low. I truly hope that is making sense. So the downtrend, that is when the market creates lower lows and lower highs. So a lower low is when price breaks the previous low. So here you can see the black circle at that time. That's what the previous low was at that time. I keep getting jumbled and tumbled up. That's where price was at that time. But as you can see where the yellow arrow is, that is our lower low because before we see those bearish candles where price tanked, it did not break that most recent low. Or excuse me, it did break that most recent low, which is the black circle. Now let's take a look at the lower highs. A lower high is when price pulls back but stays below the last high created. So here, I kind of did two just to kind of emphasize what it meant. But the first black circle here that's at the tippy top, um, as you can see, price did pull back where the yellow arrow is, but it did not go all the way up to that one. Now, the reason I did circle the one that's furthest to the left is because it kind of just emphasized and gave more confirmation of it being that lower high because it really didn't, it stayed below that other high that was once created in the past. I truly hope that's making sense. So I'm not going to stay on these long. Please take a screenshot of this. This is just a pattern of how you should be able to identify your higher highs as well as your uptrends and downtrends. So please just take a screenshot. And this is the pattern that it should follow. So with an uptrend, you start off low, it goes higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, high. That new high is created. Same with downtrend as well. You start off with a high, go down to lower low, then a lower high is created, another lower low, lower high, and a new low is created. All right, so this is the very last thing to know when it comes to market structure. This is like the cherry on top. So trend lines is just what you're drawing to connect the highs and lows in an uptrend or in a downtrend. So as you can see here, the uptrend line is a line drawn under price that connects higher lows. That is going to be what price is currently doing. So whenever you are drawing these uptrends and downtrends, you're always focusing on what price is currently doing. Okay. Now, a downtrend line is just a line drawn above price that connects the lower highs. So as you can see in the example here for the uptrend line, there were 2 to 3 touch points that connected to this line to make it an uptrend. They didn't touch exactly, but it's close enough to understand that this pattern was formed. As long as price was bouncing off of this line, you are in an uptrend. When price bounces off of a line, you're in an uptrend. Now, in this downtrend example, we see that the lower highs touched at least 2 times. Give yourself at least 2 to 3 times. You don't have to overdo it because 9 times out of 10, I don't think the market can overdo it. But here we have one at the top here, 2, and it continued down. So price did not go above this line, this trend line. Okay. So now we are going to dive into some real examples so you can see how to draw trend lines on the chart. So here I have the 4-hour pulled up. And as we can just, if we see what price is currently doing, we obviously see a clean uptrend. And how do I know that we are in an uptrend just by laying my eyes on it? Well, I see that right here we have our most recent low. So what I'm going to do is start at this low and we're going to work our way up. So here is the most recent low, and if you took a picture or wrote down the pattern, you are about to see it right here. So we have a low, and then we're going to go up to a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, takes off and creates this new double top, aka this new key level, also known as resistance. It has like 3 different names. So here when we started with this low, I am going to show you guys a list of 3 questions you need to ask yourself in order for you to know if the market is currently in an uptrend. Write it down, screenshot it, do what you have to do to remember this. The first question is this high higher than the most previous high? Let me make an arrow. So in order for you to know if this is a higher high, is this high higher than the most previous high? Yes, it is. So that makes that a higher high. Next, this is a higher low. So higher low is when price pulls back, but it does not reach the most recent low. So in this case, there's 2 occasions. You got this low right here. You got this low right here. And then you also have this low right here. Price did not come back to break neither one. So therefore, that is a higher low. And then we go back up again to higher high. And then we drop back down to higher low. Again, that higher low is not breaking the most recent low. In this case, this is the next low that it is not breaking. And then it takes off and it forms a new high, as you can see here. Now, this is also known as a key level, but also known as resistance. So it formed a new resistance level as well. So in this case, if you ask yourself these 3 questions, you are know that you are currently in an uptrend. Okay? Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, new high is created. That is the whole point of market structure, is just creating new highs and new lows. Please write down, take a screenshot of those 3 questions so you can understand what you are looking at when you pull up the chart. All right, so another example of an uptrend here, and sometimes it won't look exactly like the pattern presented. Sometimes it may slant a little bit, but regardless, those new higher highs and those new higher lows are all created. Here we have our low, then it forms a higher high, pulls back to a higher low, creates another higher high, kind of pulled back again, and then it took off and created that new low up, or excuse me, that new high up here. So again, although it doesn't, it still presents new highs, new lows that are created, and it's not, as long as it's not breaking the most recent low, you are in an uptrend. I hope this is making sense. Here's another example of an uptrend. If we are looking at this most recent low right here, let me put a line just so we are clear. We are looking at this most recent low right here in this area. So just so you can see again very clearly what we are doing when we are making this uptrend. So we're starting at low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Uh-oh, sorry guys, I gotta pull this up. So just to give you guys what I just did, this is a lot of price movement. So starting at this low, we got a higher high. It dropped back down, but it was nowhere near the previous low. Higher low. It formed another higher high, and it. All right, so in this case, we have our low here, higher high, pulled it back, higher, or excuse me, higher high was up here where the arrow's pointing, higher low. We're going back up to our higher high, higher low. It dropped a little bit, and we taken off, and that new high was created. Another example of downtrend. Here we have our high. The candles are kind of together. I am on the 1 hour time frame for gold, so if you know gold, it moves very crazy. So here we have a high. It drops to a low. It pulled back very slightly, forming a lower high. And we drop down again to a lower low. Pulled back a little bit. I guess you can count that. And then a new low was created. So right here in this area, that pullback, that small tiny candle is what that pullback was. So again, we have a high, lower low, lower high. Let me fix it to where it is. Sorry, to start from the beginning. So we have a high, lower low, lower high, lower low. This candle right here, you cannot see it because it's covering, but this tiny blue candle formed a lower high. And as you can see right here, this new double top and new, double bottom was formed. That new low was created. Another example of downtrend. So here we have a high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, came back up, lower high, and then it tanked. So where you see these candles right here is basically where those small blue candles, which price tried to pull back up. All right, let's get into some examples of how to draw your trend line. Now, this is the final question that you need to be asking yourself before entering into the markets. Is price respecting the trend line, or is it breaking structure? That is the final question that you are going to be asking yourself, and you are going to know that by taking the Trendline tool on TradingView, finding the most recent low, and extending up to where price currently is. Now, when you draw your lines, your touch points are not going to touch the lines exactly spot on. Just know it's supposed to reach that area at least. If you see more than 2 hit spots for your higher highs or your higher lows, or excuse me, lower highs, then you know you are good to go with knowing whether you're in uptrend or downtrend. So in this case, if I get 2 touch points and I see that price has not broken anywhere below this line, as in all in this area, I literally don't see no candles below this area. So what's that telling me right now is that price is currently in an uptrend. And just to be clear, those touch points, I have this one right here in the middle. We have this higher low right here. We have 1, 2, 3. If this were to come all the way down, 4. But this is keeping us in an uptrend because it is not breaking below this line. Okay, so when you see a formation of higher lows that are being created and you take your trend line and extend it from the most recent low to where price currently is, you are able to tell if you're in an uptrend or not. I hope that makes sense. This also works with, personally, I sometimes, and this is just me, when I am checking the trend, I go to where price currently is, and let's just say I go to this most recent low and I'll extend up. I don't swing too far left, and I won't go into too many details about that, but I do not swing all the way over here. I'm keeping it simple, and I'm staying where price currently is because the present is all that matters. And for me, the extra confirmation comes in when I take my trend line and extend it to the lower, I guess you could say the real low, major low, and I extend it, and that confirms it for me. So when I'm marking up the chart, that's just what I personally do, and it just adds on to the confirmations that you need. So here, if we were to be looking at price this day, I would have started above where price was, and I just would extend down. We have a touch point here. That's 1, 2, and this is 3. That showed me that this stayed in a downtrend. So just to show another example of what price is currently doing up here, I'm simply going to take my trend line once again, start at the low. I'm going to extend it up to where price currently is. And to give me extra confirmation, well, the first thing I'm going to say is, okay, well, I see that this has been above the trend line. This is above. There's nothing going on under here. I don't see any candles here. It has not broken structure. And that's what that means. When there's a break of structure, that means that your candle has extended above your uptrend or your downtrend line. Okay? So then the next thing that I do is take the trend line again and I go to the top. And this just gives me, and again, this is just me, if I need extra confirmation on reading the chart, I go ahead and I do both. It is 100% okay to do both. So in this case, with what price is doing, if I were to be getting ready to take a trade, I would tell myself, okay, this is consolidating. This is ranging. How do I know it's ranging? Because there has not been a break of structure yet. There has not been any candle closures. There have not been any candle closures up here, nor have there been any down here. So right now, price is currently consolidating, aka ranging, and I would not be making a move until I know it's going to break this support line or it's going to break this resistance trend line. So it's actually perfect that this just came about because you also need to know what it looks like when the market is ranging. Here's another example of break of structure. So let's just say we're going to start from the top here, and I'm going to extend my line down. So from this high all the way down to this this low right here, we know that the trend was currently bearish. It was in a downtrend. We have one, two, higher lows, or lower highs that hit this touch point at that time. So we know that the market was in a downtrend. Another emphasis on break of structure would be, in this case, our low is down here. So how there has all of a sudden began to be movement, and market has shifted direction. So the market was no longer in a downtrend. It formed that new low, and this candle right here, this bullish candle, broke the structure and created a new trend, uptrend. Also known as market structure shift. Another example of break of structure is, we're going to take our trend line from here. We have this uptrend, and I'm just going to show you what it looks like. So here we had an uptrend and a new high was created. But right here, no more bullish candles, no more blue candles were formed above this high. The market structure began to shift because it shifted outside of this trend line. So here, where this black candle formed, it basically formed a new trend, and it turned bearish. So just remember, a break of structure is just like how it sounds. If you're in an uptrend and there is a line, or a candle that breaks above or below where your trend line is, then you know the market structure has shifted. I just wanted to show you guys in real time another example of using the trend line. So here, let me take this away again. So here I'm on my higher time frame, the 4 hour, and I am just going to take it and I'm just going to stretch this down. Now, sometime for extra confirmation, what I do is find the major low, which is here, and it kind of just gives me extra confirmation on what it is that I need to do with how price is reacting at that time. So sometime in my strategy, I do have one trend line, but sometimes I'll use the second and third as like my extra confirmation. And all I do is just come from the bottom, the major low, which is also known as the support trend line, as well as that resistance trend line, which is on top. Not to confuse you or anything, just keep it at simple trend line. So I do just utilize all of those to confirm. So as of right now, I'd be telling myself, okay, if this candle continues to break this trend, I can't even zoom in. If this candle breaks this resistance, or this support trend line, I know that this is going to continue in a downtrend. Another thing that I would like to show is that if you look on these lower time frames, as you can see, again, these trend lines are only done on the higher time frames. So as you can see, on the lower time frames, price has respected and stayed below this line. As you can see from here, it stayed below this line because it is in a downtrend. So to give you a better picture, this is our 4 hour. Okay, and the 15-minute, this is all that's going on, and it has stayed below. So now what I'm waiting on is, if this bull candle up like it kind of is trying to do now, this is in real time, guys. I am marking up, but if this candle continues to tank down a little bit, then I know that I will be going in for a sell position. And again, this is the same exact time frame. I did just erase the trend lines, but even here, I am now on the daily time frame. So what I'm going to do here is take the trend line, Stretch it to what price is doing. Not sure. Okay, I know that this is downtrend, of course, but I'm also going to take it from what prices. This is, and the only reason I'm doing it right here is because this is the most recent low. So when I told you that I do sometimes 2 to 3 lines, this is the part where I'm like, okay, well, let me just get that double confirmation, and I just find the major low. And you don't have to do this. This is just me. This is the way I trade. This is what works for me, and it gives me extra confirmation and confidence that I know that I am trending with the market. So I just take that major low and I extend up to what price is currently doing. And as you can see, it's kind of a lot going on, but this is telling me that if price drops below these 2 lines, I know that I'm continuing in a downtrend. And I can tell you that it hasn't bounced off any of these lines. So that is what I mean by that, having that extra confirmation. Again, this is just the way I trade. And if you do need help with getting the extra confirmation of flowing with the trend, I would recommend it. Waiting on price to break structure. So as of right now, I would be sitting on my hands because as you can see, that candle is trying to move up, it's trying to move down. It doesn't know what it's doing. So therefore, I have no business placing any trade right now. Once it breaks above this trend line right here, also known as your resistance trend line, then I'll have more confirmation that I could get in for a buy. Once it breaks this support, as I said, sometimes I do have extra lines just to give me that extra confirmation on what price is doing. I extended it from the low and reached up. It's nowhere near it right now, but either way, price is kind of toggling back and forth in the middle of these trend lines. So therefore, it's kind of trying to consolidate, but we see it's trying to break. But I did just want to show you just a live example of how trading the trend works. So we're just waiting on that break of structure. It's either going to break above this line, which kind of what I'm hoping for, but it also can tank and break this most recent low that is placed right here. So let's see, what is it going to do? This has been a game changer for me, and just adding it on like sprinkles on top of a sundae for my trading strategy. So when you hear trading with trend, this is what that means. Following where the trend line is. Total game changer for me. Now, if you haven't already and you found this information helpful or useful on your trading journey, please be sure to hit that like button. Please subscribe for more Forex education videos, as well as follow me on my Journey to Funded series for more. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and God bless you and happy trading.